Monday. Gotta love Mondays. Let's see if we can't connect here. Bum, 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 bum. Busy week for myself. I hope you guys are busy there in the background doing your thing, uh, building your businesses or whatever it is that you're doing. Hopefully you're doing it successfully, having a good time doing it. Going live on YouTube right now. One moment, please. There we go. There we are. Hey, Tony made it. There we go. Let's mute us over here so we're not doubling the effects here. And good morning. Oh, look, there's all kinds of. I turned my head for just a moment and there's all kinds of people in here. Hello and welcome, everyone. It is Monday, one of my favorite days of the week. This is your Monday Mastermind. I am your host, Robert Blakely. My co-host for today is Mr. Virgil Obeo. I don't even know. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that
Well,
right.
right. Yes, you did, sir.
First name basis here. But anyway, if you are seeing us live on YouTube right now, feel free to join us. You can just type in the address bar up top, say live.thelosttransition.com, and you can join us live. What we do is we meet here every Monday. We have a little course, if you will, over the past. Let me back up because I like feel like I'm rushing myself. Slow down. What we have developed here is a 52-week course. We are in week 18 today. This is going to be very exciting. We're going to need some time because we're going to talk about building a buying atmosphere. This is one of my favorite topics among all of my other favorite topics to talk about. So very important that you guys do take some notes. As always, we will drop some golden nuggets, probably some golden bars. We'll open it up at the very end. If you guys have any questions, takeaways, things like that. So we will need some time, or I will need some time to discuss the slides that you're going to see today. So we do want to start off with some wins, but we don't want to take it too long. So maybe 10, 15 minutes. If you guys got some good wins that you want to share, by all means, raise your hand, get in line, and let's get the party started. Sound good? Awesome. So who wants to get us started? Share a file in the meeting. And hello, everyone. Hello, Tony. Hello, Dr. Lisa. Hello, Jorge. Hello, Mikey. Anybody got some wins that they want to share?
I can kick the party.
All
Started.
right.
Well, it's a one consistent win so far. What I've been putting out is staying on track in terms of the magazine, the team behind it. It's cohesion in actually executing the work is getting sharper. We're venturing into new creative ideas, and that's pretty great. So staying consistently within that atmosphere, team atmosphere, and project building atmosphere is great, especially that we're not necessarily generating funds right now. So it's full passion put in. We have a couple of good monetization strategy that are also starting to mature into real opportunities. So that's great. And second win is yesterday, well, last week during the demonstration, I rolled out this platform that I was converting for local insertion here. And I had to pitch it to the upper management first. And the feedback came back. They were really excited about it. So, and plus, I think I will be able to position it at a upcoming Entrepreneurs Gala publicity rollout, and it's also entering it into a contest for cash prize for best product. So laying out all the marketing presentation and everything will become the next challenge for that one. The good thing is I was a little bit afraid of the the programming itself, since I am not necessarily the coder, but I have enough experience in the hotel industry to understand the algorithm, and I was able to create the two first version iteration of the product, the tier one, tier two, and the tier three is where the other company comes in, and they're pretty happy about everything I rolled out so far. So cross fingers, touch wood, keep rolling that steam and see where it lands.
Very nice, brothers. Someone's been a busy little beaver.
No sleep.
Are you doing an online magazine
Yeah,
first?
well, it's the application itself was structured to be an online magazine, but I found it a lot more interesting as a retention strategy, ecosystem building, and riding the trend to turn it into a magazine, to turn it into an app. I am going to be completing some of the articles that I will be issuing in a full PDF type E, full render copy. But that is as I build the expand on the team, right? I need more hands for that because that's
Yeah.
a whole. Even if we're doing it with chat to speed up the process, uh, gathering the right content, putting it together, applying the final human touch requires these hand on deck. I started training one of the models that came in as a as a figure front for our conversation. I started training her into the admin and even in what we do. Got her opening up her LinkedIn and such. So I'm hoping that well, we'll see where it goes. If not her, somebody else will take that realm. The seat is being created, and I think there's enough interest for people to come in. So that's the win so far.
Right on, brother. Right on. That is awesome, brother. Well, thanks for those
Thank you.
updates. Appreciate you sharing. I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out from that side of the planet that you're on. Always some new and interesting, fun stuff. Especially when it comes to like putting it all together the way that we have from the very beginning. I love seeing the growth, obviously, from everybody.
Well,
So,
simple step, follow the page and download the app. It's actually free. I'll share the links later on. But yeah, and that way you get to see everything happening in real time. That'd be cool.
okay, cool. Well, yeah, for sure. Share it. Let us know.
Will do.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else have any wins that they want to share? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, I'll go.
No, you can't go yet. Hi, everybody.
There she is.
I'm having internet challenges and new cable
Understand how she
company.
goes.
So anyway, I just wanted to report that in our last session, Blakester had suggested me reaching out to a person that had asked who I had presented a membership to, and I said no, he already knows. I'm not going to be hounding people. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I reached out anyway. I'll go ahead and try it. And guess what? The guy signed up. So um, I decided to be coachable.
Yeah. Imagine that, huh? They say the fortune's in the follow-up, right?
Yeah, they say that, but sometimes those are just things to say. I hear it all the time.
Right.
But
So
I,
how did your follow-up go? Do you mind walking us through it a little bit?
in terms of what I said,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's in my phone.
Or just an idea, like,
um, I think I think I just maybe assumed the sale.
okay, cool.
Uh, Let me see.
I think what you're gonna find uh in today's slides, let me try to say this the right way. I think you're gonna find what you did in today's slides.
Okay, so I said, I reached out. I said, hi, I trust all is well. Did you decide to move forward with the Legal Shield plan?
Straight and direct.
Yep,
Very cool.
yep, yep, yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Straight and direct. I wouldn't have even asked about it, but good job.
Hey, look, all the time I spent, it was like, either you do or you don't. Just go ahead and ask. What the heck?
Right? That's kind of the tone that I hear, and that was great though. It's like, okay, should I get off the pot, kind of, right?
Yep. You know what to do. I made it very simple. I've given you tons of stuff to read. You've had a couple of weeks to read it. So what are you
Uh,
going to do?
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for being coachable. Thanks for being the most amazing student ever.
Thanks.
Any other wins you want to share? No, you good?
I think so. I forgot one from probably a week ago, but it had to do with the conference. I don't think I shared about the the one of the other moderators that was there, and she has some kind of show. She's got lots of credentials, but as she was reading mine before introducing me, I was like, wow, is that me? I never, sat back and looked at what it was. But anyway, she said, we need to talk about what it is that you do with the Munchkins. And she was from the Caribbean.
Oh,
So she said, that sounds pretty interesting. So we are, we're, we're in the process of just chatting about it and where I could fit in. So I'll
hey, you
leave
never
that
know,
as a,
right? Might be a partner, something like that. You never know. At
yep,
least you get the word out.
yep,
That's
yep, yep.
awesome, though. That's
So
awesome.
I did send her the little the app, I guess is what you call it. I don't know. Whatever that is. It's not the website, but it's an interactive kind of thing about the Munchkins and what we're about. It has the characters in there, and I think it was Abacus, I think that was used. Someone shared that with me. So he was like, just get on it and do it. So I did. And I was like, oh, these are so cute. So it was pretty cool. So I used that and just say this is the test run, but it'll give you an idea of what it is that we do. So
Very cool.
yep.
Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing and thanks for making it. I appreciate you being here as always. Any other any other wins that you guys want to share? If not, I will share a couple things, one or two things, and then we'll dive in. So for my wins, we're pretty happy. The Lost Transition is ready for sign up. If you were invited here by somebody else, I would first off ask them, say, hey, do you have a link yet? If not, and you're invited here by me specifically, you can go to thelosttransition.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can sign up. We're doing what I'm going to call a soft launch. You can sign up for free. You'll get email notifications. Still working on that. The one that came out today was a little off timing, but if you, I don't know, read it. Did you get an email by any chance?
I don't know, but I did. I don't. I'm not sure, but I did look to see. Try to log in from the phone because I
Uh,
was having trouble jumping in on the computer, and it wouldn't let me access it. So I'm not sure.
okay.
Yeah,
Um,
can you drop the link in the chat? I'll go to it now because I'm trying
Yep.
to access myself.
I will here. Hold on one second. It's kind of tough to talk and type.
listen to that TNT talking type.
Right? Anyway,
Yeah, my
so,
my password didn't go through.
okay. Well, let's can
Maybe.
maybe I've got an appointment at 1 with DMV.
Okay.
Hopefully be getting a driver's license update. Woo! That's I guess we could call that a win after today. We'll see what happens. But we did get everything situated. At least last thing I'm working on is the conference room itself, make sure that it streams, but I do have the CRM in there. You're able to connect your Gmail and stuff like that and start sending emails or at least get things set up. What I'm looking for in essence is to kind of find out from you guys what is working, what is not. If you find anything that you like or dislike, suggestions, I'm going to take that obviously from the audience itself. But just from doing my tests already, we had 3 new members over the weekend. We got a lot done. One of them was a paid member, uh, which Dale, welcome back to the Lost Transition. Happy to have him back. But what I'm talking about when I'm talking about my tests, for those of you guys that have been paying attention, I got really pissed off at Facebook a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was the 9th, if I remember. Yeah, 9th of last month, because my Facebook was hacked again, or not hacked, but cloned. So I stopped posting directly on Facebook, and I started using the Lost Transition, and I posted there, and I was just sharing from there because there's a little bit of a viral component that I built into it, and based off of that post and those posts that I've been making since then, somebody new that I don't even know joined. So I'm pretty happy with that. So we are open soft launch. Get a link from somebody that if they've invited you here, get a link from them. And let's have some fun and let's build something amazing. I'm pretty excited about it. That being said, I do need to get started with these slides because there's quite a bit of information that I'm going to share with you guys today. Again, this is week 18. We're going to talk about building a buying atmosphere. Very, very important. You guys take some notes. I know you guys hear me all the time talking about, well, if you don't learn anything else, learn this. There's going to be a couple of those components in here only because you need to sort out the difference between like online and offline type of behavior, as well as some of the other things that we've been teaching over the course of the last 5 years, right? So before I get too deep into it, Virgil, am I coming through okay?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. And how about slides? Can you see the slides?
Just came through.
Cool. Perfect. All right. So for those of you that have been tuning in and paying attention, because you got to be paying attention to what's going on. Otherwise, you might miss something or a lot of things, right? Uh, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, if we want to call it a show, we developed and put out a 52-week course, if you will. And every week on Monday, we're going to be covering those topics. We're actually now into week 18. Um, I don't know if you're watching that calendar, but we're now into a new month of May. Are you watching the calendar? Are you letting it go by? Or are you actually building your business? Are you taking the information that we're sharing and using it to build your business? I hope you're doing the latter. Actually, I trust that you're doing the latter. But today is week 18, Monday Mastermind. We're in what I call phase three of the sales psychology portion of what we're going to be doing over the course of these 52 weeks. Today, building a buying atmosphere is very important because when you grasp this with, again, all the other little things that we teach around here, you'll be, how do I want to say this? Um, you'll be better versed with a better skill set than 95 to 97% of the people that are in the online marketing right now. And I feel very confident saying that. The only difference between like myself and other people that are doing very well, quite honestly, is the ad space and the fact that they're known, right? You know, if you guys understand that. I first off, not going to make excuses. I don't put ads out there. I always recommend that you don't do any advertising unless you have a system that actually works. I've recently rebuilt my system, so now I could potentially think about doing some ads, but I can't run ads on Facebook because, again, a love-hate relationship with Facebook, and they, yeah, they cut me off. Anywho, when it comes to building a buying atmosphere, realistically, there are a lot of things involved, but it's going to come down to how you build the actual atmosphere itself, right? And what do I mean by that? It's like setting up a stage. For those people like that have been following me for a while, right? I'm always reminded of how when it came to direct marketing, I would ask some of my students if they've ever wanted to be actors. Like, have you ever wanted to be in a movie? Raise your hand, right? For myself, if you don't again know, yes, had some fun. I was an extra in From the Earth to the Moon, you know, high school drama, theater arts. I wanted to be on film. I wanted to be in the TV because that's what I was glued to growing up as a kid, right? Uh, so that being said, I learned, and you might take this the wrong way, hopefully not, that a lot of this is acting, right? A lot of this is acting, but then most of us, we don't go through acting classes. We don't, we're not part of an extra on a movie. All we do is we act the part that we know based off of the life that we're leading or have led, if that makes sense, right? So the reason I'm saying this to backlog, again, I need some time to be able to express myself on these because it comes from a culmination of years of doing what I've done, right? Starting out at 16, door to door. Ooh, I get goosebumps just thinking about it, doing door to door just for newspaper sales, right? And then learning all of these skill sets little by little over the course of 40 plus years. Right? But ultimately it's learning your part in whatever that movie is within your business so that you are the best actor, if you want to put it that way in relative terms, in your business, right? Think about, well, if you're into Emmys and Globies and all that other stuff, well, you know you're not going to get one unless you play that part very well, right? The reason I'm saying this to prelude all of this is so that you really understand what I'm getting at. And I've mentioned before, I could train somebody, they could go to a door, get a no, and I could go right back behind them and get a yes, right? Really, what does it come down to? It comes down to building that atmosphere and how you act, right? So you're going to see some of that, and that's why I wanted to explain this in such a way. Now, enough of the chatter. One of the things that I love to talk about is how we can go around objections. You know, you have a lot of, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but you have and I don't want to name drop, but you have a lot of people out there that their big thing is they want to go and they want to teach you how to overcome objections, right? And I'm okay with that. I can teach you how to overcome objections quite easily. But from what I know, what I teach, I'd rather just teach you how to not even have the objections, right? If that's okay with you. Teach you how to not have those objections. Teach you how to have less to little or no no's and more yeses. But it's all going to be based off of how you set up your buying atmosphere and what it is you know, your skill set, and how well you act that part, right? So when we talk about making sure objectives don't come up or objections never come up, last week you guys know we talked about, how to handle those objections when they happen. Today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the environment part, right? So a reactive versus preactive mindset needs to be taken here. And if you don't know the difference between preactive, reactive, and proactive, it's pretty important, right? This is something that I learned many years ago. You can either react to something or you can be proactive and prevent that negative reaction. Potentially, it's a negative reaction, right? But the atmosphere principle itself, as it's shown here, when you control the environment, the energy, and the conversation frame from the very start, prospects sell themselves, right? They stay above that buying line that you hear me talk about because you never gave them a reason to dip. And what do I mean by that? If you guys remember with the whole buying line, there's typically three dips within the presentation. One's going to be when you talk about the price, your company, or the product, right? But if you never really give them a reason to dip below that buying line because of the environment that you created and the energy that you're using, as well as what you're saying as far as conversation frame. Anybody remember when we talked about framing and reframing, right? That comes into play with what we're talking about today. You have to know how to frame things, listen, and then potentially reframe things when it comes to how you set up the actual atmosphere itself. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the easiest things that you could do that I use all the time. Excuse me. And feel free to use it yourself. Towards the end, I always say, and if it's not for you, that's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. I've had them surgically removed. And I just smile at them. Even if I'm talking on the phone or I'm on video, I want to make sure that I say that line. And what that's going to do is that's going to remove any resistance from them actually taking a look. That's telling them mentally and psychologically that, oh, this guy isn't trying to sell me something, right? Because the moment that the psychological, the mind itself thinks this person is trying to sell me something, what's going to happen is there's going to be a wall that's going to go up right away, right? And then that's just like having an objection. So if that happens, then you got to kind of backpedal a little bit to bring that wall down so that you can even engage in a private in a prior conversation, right? So reactive is, hey, the objective, now I need to handle it. So you're thinking on a defensive strategy instead of setting up the stage by knowing what it is that they need and then showing them that you have what they need, if that makes sense, right? Okay. That's the easiest way to handle objections is to actually like walk through what's going to happen, what they're going to see, but by knowing what they're going to tell you ahead of time, you answer those objections ahead of time. Some of you guys might be like, what are you talking about? Right? What do I mean? Let's continue. There's three atmospheric controls, if you will, right? Write these down if you need to, because when you master them, objections are really simple. But the part that I want to conclude on this, right? Like I want to say that if you have the certain scripting, like we talk about, which is nothing more than your introduction, body, and your close, inside the body of your presentation is where you answer those objections in advance. Okay. On top of that, you have to, number one, control the environment the best that you can. What do I mean by that? As an example, even in direct marketing, we made sure that we taught our people how to even stand in the door. Right? It was very important that you stood sideways like this instead of standing straight on like this. That's an environmental control. Okay. Why do we do that psychologically? Well, a person that stands at your door like this is typically a salesperson, or it's going to be somebody that you know. If you don't know that person, it's typically going to be a salesman. If you stand to the side like this, you're not standing in a normal behavior that salespeople would stand. What does that do? That piques curiosity in the brain, therefore has people open the door because you look different, you look important if you control that environment. So even though you're at somebody's front doorstep or you're anywhere in a direct location with them, you can still control the environment by what you do personally. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Hey, Vicky. Glad you made it. Guys with me so far? Yes? Want to make sure I'm not boring you guys or putting you to sleep.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Thank you. Second is the energy. What did I just do? I'm checking the energy. What's the tone that you're bringing as well? If you've been around me enough, we talk about tonality on a scale of 0 to 10. I don't know if you guys remember that. Rita, do you remember that?
Go ahead and refresh my recollection.
Okay, so when it comes to energy, and thank you. So when it comes to energy itself, there's a range of emotions, if you will, that carry. Let me back up this way. Y'all know that I say, okay, a cell is nothing more than a transference of emotions, right? That emotion can be carried by what your energy is that you're transferring, right? So it depends on your tonality. When it comes to tonality, there's a 0 to 10 gauge that we gauge that off of. 0 would be empathetic or like just completely dead. Like, nah, I don't care, right? A 6 or a 7 would be, oh my God, this is so great. You got to get in. An 8 or 9 to 10, I'm just losing my freaking mind. You got to sign up, right? You want to be, the energy level needs to be at around a 5, which is what I typically call neutral. sounding like, hey, I'm just the delivery boy. Here's the information. I don't care if you do it or not. It's totally up to you. So your energy level, get it now what I'm talking about? You want to be at about a 5 to a 6. If you go anything higher than a 6, you can immediately cause disinterest because that person's gonna be, whoa, you're too excited for me. Then again, what happens? They must be trying to sell me something. Wall goes up. You with me?
Yep.
Okay. This is very important. Ooh, I'm telling you, like I get goosebumps on this stuff. Ooh, I love it, love it, love it. Because again, when you understand what's going on and you mirror the customer and you understand tonality and you understand that you're controlling the environment in such a way and it's based off of the energy that you're controlling, again, part of your environment that you're passing on to that person. And then that third part is the frame itself. Who's leading the conversation, right? What's the context? And does that prospect see you as the expert? Because if that prospect that you're talking to sees you as the expert, they're going to stay above that buying line. You understand, everyone? Yes?
Yep.
So you need to be the expert. That's what I'm telling you. So how do you become the expert? You have to act your part as the expert. Well, acting my part as the expert, what does that entail, Robert? That entails me knowing what the hell is going on in my business. That entails me knowing what it is, what company I'm with, what's the product, what's the compensation plan, how many people do I need to break even, how many people do I need to make $100 extra per month, how many do I need to make 500 per month, how many do I need to make 1,000 per month. These are the minimums that you should know, my friends. Okay? You don't know these things, you're not the expert. Keep pointing them to the expert. Right? A lot of times when we talk about this, you don't have to be the person that's closing the prospect. That's the beautiful thing about network marketing, especially if you're on a team that actually does the work. Right? You can have a leader or somebody that's doing the presentations, and then what do we tell you? We say just become a professional inviter. And in fact, that's all you really need to do at the very beginning is be able to invite people professionally, invite them to a presentation, like maybe like this, right? Except this isn't a sales presentation. This is educational, right? But those are the three things that we have to must control. And when you master the different ways of controlling those things, objections become very rare. Make sense, Rita? You're putting all these things together, right? And you're starting to not have objections, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think about that before I actually have the conversation. So on the way over to the appointment, or maybe 20 minutes before, I look for all the objections that people might have. But I did steal. You can't hurt my feelings. They've been surgically removed. That's a great visual for me, and people. It always makes people laugh. So
Right. And it drops their guard, and then they're like, okay, well, I'll take a look, right? I'm telling you, it's gold. That's the gold bar in your lap right there. Try it sometime. But again, you must control these three things. And if you can control the environment, the energy, and the framing, then objections are very rare. Okay, this is why I rarely get objections. So let's talk about those. Even though we delve into them, we'll just touch on these slides real quickly, okay? Number one, what's the environment? If you're in person, meet somebody where they feel comfortable. Typically, it's going to be at their home, or maybe it's at a Starbucks or something like that, right? Get rid of any distractions. Put your phone away. So many times people will go and they'll want to meet, and then like, oh, you're doing this while you're having a conversation with the other person. No, 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 no. They need to be your complete and total focus, 100%. right? Drop the phone. Have things ready. Look, I've got material ready here for you to take a look at, right? Coffee shop, pick the quiet corner, not the middle of the place where everybody's going to hear the conversation, right? Or they're home. On virtual, obviously, we could do it in Zoom. Make sure you've got good lighting, right? You might not have lighting when you first start out, right? Remember, I was telling you, you're going to have to be an actor. What does that entail? Well, sometimes you come on camera. What happens when you're on camera? Well, you need some good lighting. I wasn't able to get lighting right away. It took me some time and then had a little extra money. Saw it on YouTube, a complete lighting kit like 135 on sales. I bet I'm getting that. Why? Because it's a business investment. It's so that it helps me look better, right? Minus the shine on my head. But I want to control the environment, right? Even the things that I put behind me, those can all be controllable, right? It's not that you have to have anything behind you, right? Because most people don't care. But if you have something dynamic behind you, that could make a big difference, especially if you're, a YouTuber or you're out there and live all the time. Control the environment. Think about what people are going to see, right? Number two, energy. Your emotional state is contagious, right? I always say that even before I sit down, like I don't have an emotional energy problem. This is not a problem in my world. But if you have an issue like, oh man, I gotta sit down, I gotta have those 5 conversations, but I don't want to talk to anybody today. That's not the right energy, right? You have to make sure that before you even sit down in front of your laptop that you got the right energy. And I'm speaking off the slides right now, but prepare your energy. Even on the daily, when I come in here, I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna tackle some shit with Claude. We're gonna make some things happen. My energy is always this high. This is how I run. All gas, no brakes. Right? Till I run out of steam, then we're like, all right, we'll be back.
Yep, that is true. You'll get it and run like heck.
There's just no time to waste. Like that's the thing that I learned too. You cannot procrastinate on any of this, right? If you want to build a business online, it's go time. And what does that mean? Again, I want you guys to understand it's really this simple as having conversations with people. That's it. We're not making this complicated. We're not digging ditches, right? It's just having conversations. So if you don't like to have conversations, you don't like people, you're in the wrong business. Okay? So that energy was high. Woo, let me slow down there. But control your energy, right? If it's too low, let's say that 4, what just right should be between that 5 and 6. You get 6 and 7, or you get too pushy or hype, right? It's too high. I often go, and because of my experience, I can feel it. If I say too much and I'm like, if I feel in my body like, oh, Rob, you're selling too much now, I will literally say that. I'm like, I'll be in my conversation. I'll be like, oh man, now I sound like I'm selling you something. I'll stop right now. Did you have any questions at all? I'm telling you, there's another little golden line that I'm telling you works like a freaking charm. Because what does it do? It opens it up. It makes them laugh. It changes the state, makes them laugh, right? Resorts to them understanding, oh, he's not trying to sell me anything, lowers that guard down, and then presumes to move forward. Okay? So make sure you get in a state before you have your conversation. Maybe it's some music. Maybe you jump up and down. I've seen a bunch of trainers like Tony Robbins, right? They tell you to get up, move your body around, all that stuff. I remember many years ago back in Florida having a live just like this and having my audience literally like jumping up and down, screaming freedom, right? How about breathe? Slow down. Pause. That's what I just did. My energy was so high. I got to remind myself, slow it down, buddy. Slow it down. Might be too much for some of you guys, right? Energy might be too high. So control your energy. Think about what I told you just now. Think about the 0 to 10. If you find yourself over explaining it, then stop selling right away. Stop selling right away. And then throw the ball back into their court. Remember we talked about tennis? Or swing that right. What is it? Gary Vaynerchuk, jab, jab, right hook. Never read the book, but I know exactly what the concept is. Right? Good thing for you to do as well is match and mirror whatever their energy is, and then you lead them up. And that's as simple as a little tonality change. Right? If you raise the tonality and your energy, then you raise the energy within the conversation. Okay? So, number three, control the frame. I briefly talked about that in my little rant here. A weak frame is, oh, thanks for, here's what a weak frame is. Thanks so much for taking my call. I know you're busy. I'll try to be quick. How many of you guys have heard this? This is like garbage. How many of you heard this? How many of you have said this? Ah, come on. I know
What?
you.
I won't hold you long, like the Baptist preachers in church?
Exactly. Right? But I have this thing I wanted to show you, right? Strong frame is something more like, hey, I'm excited to share this with you based on what you told me. I think this could be exactly what you need. Let me show you why. That's a stronger frame. We've talked about framing and reframing before. How to hold a strong frame. Number one, position yourself as the expert. Here's a quick little line you can use. In my experience working with people like you, here's the beautiful part. I won't get too deep into the psychology on this one, even though I could. Again, your words matter. So what it is that you speak of is within your skill set of language, right? Matters. If I'm saying to you, in my experience working with people like you, it's telling you psychologically that I've already worked with people like you. What does that do psychologically? Oh, okay, cool. I'm in good hands, is what the mind thinks, right? Write it down. Take a screenshot if you need to. How to set the agenda up front. Here's what we'll cover, what I need from you. There is a YouTube channel. They're called Prometheus, something or another. And I love the way that they start their videos because on their videos, they say, this is exactly what we're going to cover, such and such. And then they go into, hi, my name is so and so, and I've been tracking this for X amount of time. And then they show their expertise, is what they're doing. They're telling you what you're going to get. Here's the expertise. This is why you should watch. And it sets the tone for you to watch the entire video. Right? That's part of setting the agenda up front. Ask questions first. The one asking questions is leading the conversation. Right? So I want you to think about this for a moment. And this is why I said I needed some time to explain some of these things. The one asking the question is leading the conversation. The moment that they go and ask a question, guess what? You're now handing them the control within the environment. It's not a bad thing. I need you to understand it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, but you have to make sure you understand and realize what you did at that time or what happened. I wouldn't say that you did something, even though psychologically you did do something for them to ask that question, right? But the point is to let them ask that question and then obviously listen very intently so you know how to take the conversation back. Again, I would go back to understanding the simple way that I try to break down any script or any conversation that I have. It's that intro body close. I can tell you guys right now, from a legal standpoint, with some legal things that I'm doing. I'm doing the exact same thing that I teaching you guys on how to frame what it is that I'm saying, even in court. Okay. Having a strong frame is very important. Knowing what to ask is even better. But then knowing how, when a question is asked, how to answer that question and then get right back into the direction that you need to be traveling is just as important, right? Another one on the very end there, don't apologize for existing. I'm just saying this from personal with love from me to you. I hear a lot of people when I'll talk to them and they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry this. Oh, I'm sorry this." Don't be sorry, right? Don't be sorry. If you're gonna be sorry, apologize. But you don't have to apologize for being you, right? Because a lot of times people will be sorry for just being them, right? So anyway, don't apologize for existing. You have something valuable. Whatever it is that you have of value, make sure that you own it. Right, Vicky? Tell them, own the message, right, Vicky? Vicky will tell you. She knows all about that. Right? Now, moving on. Let's talk about reading the buying temperature because this, again, it goes into all the other things that we've been talking about here. Not just the apples, oranges, and coconuts, but it's reading the buying temperature itself. You got to know whether they're cold, warm, or hot. That's all going to depend on what it is that they're saying, and that depends on you listening, right? Maybe they might do distracted or have their arms crossed, right? This is a wall, by the way. If you're talking to somebody, they've got their arms crossed, that's a wall. That's a barrier. You got to break down that barrier before you start your conversation, or at least your pitch anyway. Have a conversation by all means. Then all you got to do is mirror the customer, do the exact same thing they're doing, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to get uncomfortable because you both are in the same spot, and don't want to look like we're twinsies, and automatically that guard drops. Hope you guys are picking up these nuggets I'm dropping. Any situation, I'm telling you, it happens just like that. Mirror the customer, automatically they drop it within seconds. And then boom, that's how you can even drop their guard, guys. Do you understand what I'm teaching you right now? Anyone? Anyone? Do you get it? If they're cold, you don't pitch, right? You're just going to build rapport first. Yeah, I just mentioned how it works. If they're like this, I'm not going to try to pitch anything. I'm going to be having a conversation first. I'm going to ask questions, warm them up, right? If they're warm, here's some of the signs they're actually engaged in what it is that you guys are talking about. They might be asking questions, right? We briefly talked about that. Let them ask the question, answer the question, get back to the presentation, right? But if you don't have a presentation, you don't know what to get back to. That's why we were so good and so effective at getting through 3 or 4 objections because we had a script that was written that we memorized, that we knew, hey, it was directly impacting the questions that they were going to ask. And then we were able to answer those questions and then get right back to where we were in the presentation when they asked those questions. Warm, right? Understand when they're warm. Signs they're engaged, they're asking questions, leaning in maybe. That's when you're going to keep sharing. Maybe you're sharing some stories, address concerns before they voice them. This part right here where they're warm, that's what I'm talking about when you're having the conversation to where you're answering their objections in advance. Okay? So if I'm talking to the person and I know that they're married, I'm going to try to have that conversation with both spouse and that person, especially the person that's the decision maker, right? I don't want to talk to the one that's not the decision maker, Because if I talk to the one that's not the decision maker and then they go and try to deliver my message, they will never carry my message the way that I can carry my message. Right? There's times that I've had uh, oh, shit, a couple weeks ago, man, we did a presentation on Sound Money Wallet. I did the presentation and my buddy wanted to come in there after me and start selling it and running his mouth. I'm like, bro, be quiet. Stop selling. Right? They're already over the buying line. Shut your mouth. I'll tell you, I'll have you know, only 6 people showed up. But guess what? 6 people signed up, baby. 100% closing ratio. That doesn't matter it was free. They can still upgrade. We got them positioned. And then what about hot? Well, they're excited. Hey, how do I start? They say, how do you start? What do you think you should do? Zip. Here's the link. Let me walk you through it. Especially if they already visualize whatever that outcome is. That's where you know if they're hot, you close, right? You don't oversell. You make it easy for them to say yes, right? So, what is your job? Like it says at the bottom, you're literally going, and this is, I trust Rita. Tell me yes, no. You got the visual on this one, right? Because when you go out and you reach out to somebody, they're always going to be cold leads, cold people. Make sense to everybody? So you start cold, you have a conversation, build the relationship a little bit, ask questions, find out, pique their interest. Oh, they start leaning in. Oh, okay. They start becoming a little bit warmer. Right? Well, what is it that you do? Oh, those are great questions. Let me show you sometime. Jump on a webinar with me. Do this. Book a call. Try this out. Right? Look, try, buy, or look, try, book. Okay? But you have to read the temperature, is what I'm saying. And once you understand and you put all these things together, like today, like guys, I trust you getting some value out of this. I hope you know what I'm teaching you right now because this is insane stuff. This is stuff that you'd have to probably go pay a man thousands of dollars to learn, and they won't even teach you this shit. Anyway, don't get me started. We want to attract people. We don't want to repel them, right? How do we repel them? Well, if we try to be a little person that wants to go out there and get the sale because we don't care about the person, well, we're going to detract some folks. You have to understand too, not everybody is your customer, right? So instead of going out there and chasing people, we want to attract the right people. If you're out there, you're pushing people, then they're going to resist. That wall comes up, like I mentioned, right? When you attract people, what happens? They lean in. The wall is down, guys, right? So we don't try to chase anything. We try to bring that gravitational pull in, right? So if I'm out there or you're out there saying, "Oh, you need this. Sign up today." I remember when I went through my mentoring with Darren. Oh man, stay away from any of those people that say, "Get in, get in, get in. You gotta get in today, today. Get in, get in, get in." I said, stay away from those people. And lo and behold, every person that I've seen like that is like I stayed away from, thank God. So I saw a lot of crashing and burning, right? It's not good for longevity in the long term. You might get a bunch of people in, but then guess what? Your retention rate is going to be high because you're going to have a lot of people get out. So we're running out of time. Let me finish up. This might be a good fit for you, right? Take your time deciding. I tell people all the time, right? Take your time. Let me know. Get back to me whenever you're ready. What questions do you have? Right? Again, we want to listen more than we're talking. Know what their concerns are. But here's the real paradox. I want to make sure that we put this at the bottom of the slide. The less you need the sale, the more likely you get it. What? What did he just say? I'll say it again. The less you need the sale, the more likely you get it. What does that come down to? That means you got to remove your emotions from it. Right? Set your emotions aside. Be married to the process and divorced from the outcome. Like, hey, I'm just going to share the information with them, and whatever happens, happens. But the moment that I'm like, oh, I'm going to share the information, oh, I'm going to get that sale. Oh, I'm going to get that sale. That emotional energy carries through, and people can tell that. I'll tell you a true fact. Got pulled over the other day for speeding. I'm taking that to court on Friday. The officer's tonality changed, and this is where he screwed up because I know this stuff. They tried to tell me I was going 42 in a 25 in a school zone. If you know anything about that, if you're speeding in a school zone, it's much higher than just speeding, right? I'm like, no, you're not going to try to get me on this bullshit because there was never a sign. But he said, oh, there was 25 miles an hour. The speed limit sign is posted, but his demeanor changed. And I knew something was off. I went back and I looked, I retraced the steps, and sure as shit, there was no sign. Right? There was no sign. Anyway, don't know how I got off track there, but coming down to it, I'm still going to use all of these things that I'm teaching you, even in court. My phrase that I'm talking to the judge about, it's all the same thing. It's my name, my intro, it's the body of it, and then it's the close. This is what I want you to do. Dismiss. And we'll see what happens. Right? People don't buy when they understand, but they buy when they feel understood. This is a pretty powerful statement if you think about it. If you go and just create the atmosphere where they feel like they're seen, heard, like it's a safe environment, right? The sale happens itself. Like I've said before, you just build the buying atmosphere and have the conversation and let the customer close themselves, right? That's the easiest way. So build your buying atmosphere this week. Your assignments, audit your environment. What's it look like? Take a look at where you take your calls or meetings. What's your office structure look like? I remember when I started and I didn't have an office. I was sitting in a fold-up chair next to a big old screen with a keyboard in my lap. Not very professional, but I knew what I wanted. Right? Look around. What can you improve? Better lighting, cleaner background, quieter space. Right? Whatever you can do to create that environment and control that environment. Start working towards that little by little. Maybe you would do a pre-call ritual. What do you do before you start your call? Maybe you're doing those jumping jacks or whatever it is. And then three, practice your frame. Okay. Anybody takeaways? What's your biggest takeaway from today? I would love to hear from you guys. Like, I would really love to hear if you guys grasp what I taught you today, what I'm giving you guys today.
Energy is important.
Awesome. Absolutely. Anyone else?
Yeah, earlier on, when you were talking about, well, I'll just say earlier on, because mirroring came up a couple of times. You were talking about the environment, and in my mind, it was temperature, because of the thermostat. But um, I was thinking to myself before the first time you mentioned it, uh, when you were saying you 4 and below, you don't want, or you want to be in the 5, 6 region. And mentally I thought, where is the concept of meeting them where they're at? And of course, you said it, meet them where they are, and then you bring them up.
Yeah.
And then when you were talking about the crossed arm wall, I was thinking, well, how do really quickly break down that wall? And you said it, you mirror them. So
Give me
uh,
goosebumps, girl.
you were, uh, they weren't objections, but you were answering my questions like as soon as they came up in my mind. So that
And
was
that's exactly what needs to happen. Thank you for that. That's awesome. 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 Thanks for that feedback. I love it. Anybody else?
Control and awareness. That's what I got.
Good.
A
Awesome.
lot of control and a lot of awareness of what you are seeing and how the client is reacting to build
100%.
up that atmosphere.
And when you do this long enough, guys, Rita will tell you, you will know exactly what people are going to tell you before they even tell you. It's crazy. It's wild. It's wild. But it's
You got
fun.
you've got a couple of comments, one from Vicky and one from
Uh,
Mikey. I'm not sure if you can see those or not. Vicky's
Let me take a look at them. Thank you.
okay.
Let's see here. Come on. Come on. Where's the chat? Show me chat. Show me chat.
Vicky said remaining confident in yourself and reflecting that in all you do.
There you go. And that's part of owning the message, right?
Hmm.
Love that.
And
Let me,
Mikey's
Mikey,
Mi-
go ahead.
Mikey says people buy when they think they are understood.
Amen. Right? Amen. We have to remember. We'll leave with this. We have to remember again. Everything is done when it comes to a sale. It's all done emotionally first. When you control those emotions, they have no other choice but to act. It's the best way that I can explain it, right? But if you're off on those emotions or that control of emotion, then that's where all the objections come in. That's where the questions come in. That's where the resistance comes in. That's where the no's come in, right? But the best objection handling is making sure objections never even come up. It's by controlling the environment, the energy in the frame, and your prospects will literally move themselves above that buying line. So I just invite you to attract people, don't push them, right? So next week, make sure you join us because we're going to be talking about the pain point principle. It's going to be pretty interesting. Again, you got to take all these little things, these nuggets, these gold bars, and put them all together. And then once you understand it, my friends, it really becomes simple. It really does. And then it's just having those conversations, knowing what the outcome's already going to be because you've done enough conversations to where you've seen the patterns. And once you've seen the patterns, then you're like Neo in the Matrix. See things coming and before they even come. Eventually, you might even dodge bullets. So join us next week, and don't forget to join us on our How To Tuesday and Wednesday with Virgil and myself. Make sure you guys go out there, kick ass, take names. Have a fantastic week. Toot toot. Love you. Bye bye.
Bye everybody.
thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Good day, everybody. See you tomorrow.